What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms, and today we're talking about the 5 ways to sharpen your intuition. I knew I always had this strong intuition, but my life didn't really reflect that. And it's really confusing and irritating at that time because you know that you have that power of knowledge, of knowing where to go and what's gonna happen, but you can't really access it. And now it's completely different. Now I can see that intuition is the leading force behind my success and all my manifestation that just happens to abundance in my life. And if I think about it, my life has changed probably 100 times more to the positive in the last 5 years than in the 10 years prior to that. So today we're really gonna narrow down what you can do, the 5 ways to sharpen your intuition so you can tap into it and get your life to the next level. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to work with me privately, check out the link in the description on one-on-one coaching, and also check out the masterclass, because there you get so many strategies and so many tools that will help you to actually bring your intuition into reality and to help you get to the next level of your epic life creation. So step number 1, stop overestimating your intuition. That's, I know, a little tricky and it might sound not that nice, but it's actually very, very positive, because I think that we overestimate and expect too much from our intuition. It's not that our intuition isn't strong enough, it's that it hasn't been sharpened yet. We haven't really focused it on the right things. And if you just put too much pressure on your intuition, it might lead you to the wrong direction. So I've had situations very often where I felt so deeply that my intuition is guiding me to that specific person, or that one idea would change my life forever. And then I did those things and I actually landed on my butt and I felt like, oh, humiliated, ashamed. I didn't know what was going on. My intuition was right, and then I didn't understand why my surrounding didn't reflect that back to me. And so I went on doing this over and over again and not seeing that I can't rely solely on my intuition, specifically in the beginning, because there are some blind spots. There are those things that haven't been sharpened yet. And if I always just look at my intuition, what it tells me, things like this will happen over and over again. Let's say you have this talent to be this amazing tennis player, and then you go and say, okay, I'm gonna go the first match and I'm gonna play against Serena Williams, and then you lose. And then you ask yourself, why did I lose? Like, I know that I'm really good at this, but you haven't really practiced it. Just because you were born with this talent doesn't mean that it's at a level yet where it can compete with your current reality. And so I'm not saying Serena Williams, as in like one of the best tennis players in the world, is actually the person that you thought about your intuition or that idea. It's actually your current reality. Your current reality is a reflection of what you have created so far, and also how your intuition has worked with it. And so if you now have an idea or something that is supposed to catapult you out of that, it hasn't really gotten the strength yet to really beat something that is that concrete in reality. So I made the biggest shifts in my life when it came to my intuition and using my intuition to my advantage once I understood that I need to back out a little bit, that I can't rely solely on my intuition. I can't just live in my fantasy and expect that reality is just gonna catch up if I don't do anything about it. That's the whole thing. Like, really being honest with yourself and just not being so harsh on yourself, because that's what you're being. You're saying my intuition has to be right, because if I admit to myself that my intuition isn't, what does that say about me? Do I lose all sense of reality? Do I lose all sense of self? You build so much of your self-worth on thinking, oh, I have like this great intuition and that is what keeps me alive and what strives me towards the next thing, that if I admit to myself that it's actually not that powerful, or that I actually have to do things like other people do it, that it would just be like a defeat. And it is a defeat of the ego in some sort, but it's the same way. Remember that situation I told you about the tennis player. If you have all of that potential to be the best tennis player in the world, you can't say, I go to the match and then I win right away. You have to put it into practice. You still have to put in your 10,000 hours to become that player. Maybe somebody else wouldn't be able to do it in 10,000 hours, or maybe you can make it in 3,000 and others need 15,000, but you still have to put in those 3,000. So don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it, because it can really change your life so dramatically, so amazingly. It can happen so fast if you just change your approach approach to it. Step number 2 is actually to go out in the real world and take action. You cannot rely on making your intuition better by just staying in your head. And I know a lot of people do that. I know I used to do that. I thought that's the way to live. I just meet a person or I have a situation and then I figure out the best way to navigate it through my intuition, to my belief system, through my thoughts. But I wasn't really doing anything that would really change my reality. And the problem with this is that your intuition needs information to process. And your intuition also needs information and feedback to make better decisions in the future. It's very similar to an AI. You actually need to have new information so you can become better. So your intuition can become better and so the AI can get better. So that is, for example, the way advertisement is shown to you. It learns what you're willing to watch, what you're interested in and what you're not. YouTube works the same way. If you have a machine learning system that is all about the way you write, it learns with time who you are, what your preferences are, and how it can help you become better. That's the whole system behind it. And our intuition is very similar. If we don't feed our intuition with new information, we cannot understand what mistakes we have been making. So if you keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, it's not gonna give it to you. You have to do something in the real world so you have a new baseline that you can then put your intuition onto. So let's say you're at your current job and you say, I wanna improve my intuition and I wanna get better at understanding what kind of job will give me a better outcome, what kind of job would give me a better feeling about myself, maybe better income, and I just feel more fulfilled. But you won't be able to find that answer by just meditating. You actually have to go out and maybe go to a couple of interviews and talk to people and get a feeling of, oh, okay, what does that actually mean? How do they look like? How do they act? Is that an environment I'd like? You can't just imagine it. But once you go there and once you go to those interviews and you get to know 5 different companies, you have a much better understanding of what is out there. And then you can make a decision based on these things. And that is something you do in the real world. You actually have a new baseline, which is not, oh, I sit at home and I think I want a new job, but it's a baseline of I went to 5 interviews. I know now that I don't want to do anything with consulting, but I actually really like doing something where I work with people, where it's all about psychology, and I love if my work is very close to me, because only through going to those interviews I saw that 1 hour commute is just too long for me and it's not something I want to do, which you might before have thought that is not a problem. It can be also the other way around, where you said, oh, I definitely don't want to do consulting, I definitely don't want to do something where it expects of me to work more, and then you go there and you see that you gain so much from this. There's so much energy that is positive, that is infused into your system, that you're willing to pay the price of working a little bit more. But you cannot know this by staying in your mind. And once you actually apply it, and as I said, then you have new information. And when you have those new informations, when you have ideas that come into your mind, you filter them through with the information you got by doing things in the real world. Step number 3 is that you have to set goals. Best is to actually set SMART goals. So SMART goals means specific, measurable, applicable, realistic, and time-bound, so that you have an idea of where you want to go. There's some examples on this where you say, oh, okay, so I sit there and then there's this dog who can bring me 100 toys. And if I say to that dog, bring me the pink elephant, the dog will bring me the pink elephant. But if I just say to the dog, you know, get me what I want, you know what I want, nothing's gonna happen, or it's gonna be random. That dog is gonna bring you something that he found like at first sight, and he'll always feel like he's not really giving you what you want. And that's similar to our intuition. Our intuition is a tool, and we need to apply it to something. If we don't have a goal towards which we're going, we cannot really make use of our intuition. I know that intuition is all about you sit here and then you have like this idea of, oh, now I know the answer. But this idea, this thought, this solution only pops up because on some point you've been asking this question. And the more specific you get on what you want, the easier it is for your intuition to find a way to get you there. So for example, let's say you tell yourself, I want to have a new job that fulfills me, that is only 5 minutes away from where I live, and I want to apply my gifts, and I want to talk to people, and I want to inspire them. So if you use those SMART goals and you say, I want to go on 3 interviews by the end of the year, so it's specific, it's measurable, it's applicable, it's realistic, and it's time bound. If you have that thing in your mind and you ask your intuition, how will I get there? How will I actually find something that'll interest me, which could be one of those potential 3 interviews? You will find a solution. Your intuition will find a solution. It'll probably not happen right away. Like, you have to ask yourself these things maybe every day for a week, but your intuition will kick in. And when you don't think about it, you ask yourself those things in the morning, in the afternoon, maybe by the 4th day, your intuition will have an answer and said, oh, wasn't there this great thing you saw the other day where people are actually advertising new job positions and that would be perfect for you? That's how your intuition kicks in. And you can even improve this by doing gratitude as well, because gratitude in respect to your intuition helps you to remember all the times your intuition helped you. So every time you do that, you teach your intuition more and more to apply itself. You have a positive anchor, which is, oh, look how great I felt when I applied my intuition to a goal. And every time you set new goals, you get new information. Remember how we talked about step 1 and 2? You have new information because you do things in the real world, you apply your intuition, you get a feedback loop, and you can make much better decisions in the future. So you get focused on using your intuition, and that's a great way to sharpen it. Don't get me wrong, you still need to find a balance because there has to be enough room for your intuition to breathe. So you got to be careful not to say, well, I want to have 3 interviews at company ABC and I want to have it with like an interview partner that I saw on this page and it's going to be on 27th of November at 10 o'clock. I'm playing here a little bit, but you know where I'm going towards. If you're having it that specific, you're not leaving your intuition enough room to breathe. So for example, when I found my relationship after being single for probably 10 years, I first off made a list of the things that are important to me, and I still let enough room for my intuition to kick in because I knew it was something that I haven't looked into before. It would have to be a different kind of person that hasn't been in my surrounding yet. And I'm not just talking about that person per se. I'm talking about a type of person, something I didn't even know existed, something that gives me another view of reality, and I have to give my intuition enough room to make those shifts. So once you start getting in situations where all of those things show up, you then get to decide, oh, okay, maybe I was too specific, or maybe I wasn't specific enough in other areas. But you got to really find the balance through stepping 2 steps forward, stepping 1 step back, really doing real life action. So actually doing the steps. So for me, it was, okay, every week I'm going to talk to one person online, and it was very uncomfortable for me. And I knew sometimes those people weren't the ones I would actually imagine myself being in a relationship with. But I knew by me going there, I get new information from my system. I understand more and more what I want and what I don't, and I lose that fear. All of this helped me to get better in my own intuition, to sharpen it and to trust it more, but at the same time, give it some specifics so it doesn't lose itself altogether. Step number 4, declutter all beliefs which are just a fog for you. So one of the biggest things I have learned in the last months is forgiveness. And I tell you this because it actually changed my life. My intuition kicks in like so amazingly because I removed those blocks that I've had in my life. And I don't ever believe that it will end altogether. You always have some blocks left. You'll always have something you can clear, but you do have them in your life and they fog your vision towards applying your intuition to something that is even better than what you have right now. You see that all the time. If you have situations where things are not working out, maybe it's because you're not aiming big enough at that moment. But why do you get stuck in this situation? Why do you keep attracting the same people over and over again? Why do you, like in the last video where I talked about gaslighting, why do you have those conversations over and over again with people who try to gaslight you? It's because there is some old belief that you carry with you that you haven't cleared yet, and because of that, you have like this ceiling on top of you. You don't allow your intuition to look beyond that. It's like you have this one room in your house and you could imagine everything in the entire world, and you could expand your energy and become bigger and really create amazing things for you, for your loved ones, for everybody, but you can't because those beliefs keep you stuck in this room. And no matter how strong your intuition is, the only thing your intuition can show you is what is within this room. That is a real great metaphor that'll explain to you why you get stuck in the situation. And that's actually the main reason why the last 5 years I was able to do 10 times, if not 100 times more when it comes to creating the life of my dreams than the 10 years prior to that. Because then I had so many more limiting beliefs. I had so many things fogging my system, fogging my vision, and just keeping me in this small box. So we got to do things that'll get us out of it. And one of the best ways you can do that is really forgiveness. So you start writing down a list. You can go chronologically of all situations you can think of where somebody did you wrong, where something actually really made you feel ashamed, where you were hurt, and just writing it down. And if you go chronologically, you'll probably not be able to think of more than 30 things. Or let's start with 30 things. And then you start really going down that list and forgiving the people for doing this. You actually see it from a perspective of, oh, okay, you weren't able to give me what I need. That's okay. I forgive you. I wish you all the best. That doesn't mean that you have to forgive that person in the real world, but on a soul level of like who that person is in your imagination, the real estate they take up in your mind. You forgive that other person. You forgive yourself for taking that on, for believing what that person said to you. You're actually thankful then to the situation because only through that it forces you now to look at yourself more and to make those shifts about how you see reality, how you really remove blocks over and over again. Tell yourself that you love that person, that you love yourself, and that you're willing to move on. It might be hard in the beginning, but you do this a couple of times. I've been doing this every single day for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and amazing things have changed. I didn't know that things could happen so quickly for me, but that's just one technique. You can work with EFT, and there are other great ways to really remove those things. But the first step is just to be aware of it, that you might have all the abundance in the world and your intuition is so strong and your intuition can guide you so far. It can show you exactly what you want and it can help you to live a life more and more in alignment with your intuition. But your limiting beliefs are keeping you stuck in this room. So what can you do starting today to actually get out of that room? Those are the things you need to focus on. And as I said, forgiveness is a very huge one. Another one is to set smart goals. I really like the masterclass for this. It really helps you to get on that path as well. But you can also start doing it today with doing this forgiveness list. You will see it'll change your life dramatically. I will continue doing this and there are always new things that come up. And every time I think of, oh, why have I been only thinking about this area? Like when it comes to my business, I now understand why was I focusing so much of my time on YouTube when I should be thinking about the bigger scheme of things, of where my business is going in 5 years, how I want to help people, how I'm building a little empire for myself, and that YouTube is just a little part of it. And this only happened because I understand now that I'm fixed on this because it reminds me, this feeling reminds me of something I experienced in childhood that I haven't let go of. At some point, you gotta make the decision. Do you want to be right? Do you want your ego to win? Or do you want to be happy? And that's how you're able and willing to start doing those steps of forgiveness. It's never about the other person. It's about getting yourself out of this room. And that's how we get to step number 5, which is immerse yourself in new environments. There are 2 aspects to this. First one is to declutter your real world life. So I'm talking about clothes, I'm talking about furniture maybe, I'm talking about things you really see every single day. And the second one is more of the active part of it. So really starting a new dance class or going on a vacation in a new place. Both of those things will make a huge difference in sharpening your intuition. Let me explain a little bit in detail. So everything you wear, let's say you have a jacket that you've been wearing for the last 3 years, you have a memory that you attach to this jacket with all the things that have happened while you were wearing this jacket or while this jacket was just in your cupboard, in your closet, and you saw it every time you were upset about something, you open it and then you saw that jacket. That thing stays stuck in your mind. You might not believe it, but the more of those things you do have in your life, not even the things that are only negative, sometimes it's also positive things that you're not willing to let go of, but that you haven't worn in a long time, that remind you of a situation that you don't want to face. So for me, it was, I had like these great clothes I was wearing at work. And for a long time, I didn't want to get rid of them because they were all high quality clothes. They were really good brands. They weren't messy or dirty or anything like that. And I always thought, okay, if I have a situation where I need to wear something a little bit more dressy, as in like a business suit or something, I can use them, I can wear them. But the thing is, I hadn't been wearing them for 2 years and they were still in my closet. And by donating them and giving them to friends and just changing it and not seeing it every day, I allowed myself to let go of that part of myself where, for example, I did a lot of things I didn't want to do, where I thought I had to force myself to be in an environment that wasn't making me happy. And your clothes remind you of this. You will understand that this thing will have an impact on you. And I'm not going to go into detail on how to declutter all your space, because the more space you have, the more clean everything is, the better you can apply your intuition, because there's not so much garbage laying around that's just keeping it from applying it to something productive. That is important too, but it's more about the memories that keep you in this old world. And it's the same thing with doing it proactively. So saying that you're gonna take on a new class, or you're gonna go and start a new job, or you're gonna go to a new gym. Because everything you learn, if you stay in the same environment, you will not be able to overcome those things that have become habits in your mind. So every time you get up and you have the same color of wallpaper that you were so used to when you went through the hardest time of your life, and you wake up and you see that, just like that, you'll get back to that. Your habit will tell you, oh, the first thing I remember waking up is darkness and is sadness, and it's like not feeling good about myself. But if you change your wallpaper to a new color, your mind has a new possibility to apply its intuition and create new habits, new things that come back to you on autopilot. And it's the same thing if you go on vacation to a country you've never been before. You're really forced to create a new reality for yourself. Everything that you already are used to, it's much harder to change. So for example, when we drive, so much of all the behavior when we do while we're driving is on autopilot. So you will not be in a situation where you can apply your intuition and really find a new way of driving. But if you want to learn how to navigate a new boat, you actually have to apply your intuition and build a new thing that's got to be on autopilot, and all the things you've learned in the meantime, how you sharpened your intuition, how you removed those blocks from yourself, how you became bigger than that room. Now you're like as big as the house. You have like so much more vision of where you want to go. You make smart goals. And if you have a new environment, it's much easier to create something when your habits are not forcing you to do the things you used to do. This technique is also used very often in therapy when people are very depressed. Like one way to really help them to change their patterns is to get them in a new environment. So in a new apartment or into a new city, or just having a new daily schedule, because it forces you to make new connections, and those new pathways and those new habits are much more likely to create something more positive for yourself, because you have all that knowledge, than to actually stay in a situation where so much is already going on autopilot and in a negative way. So really start taking actions on all of those 5 things. So the first one is stop overestimating and being too harsh with your intuition. The second one is to make real world actions, because they will give you feedback so you can actually nourish your intuition even better. The third one is to really set goals and journal and be grateful for all the things your intuition has already led you to, because that way you focus your intuition on something very specific and you're much more likely to get it. Side note, don't be too specific, otherwise your intuition doesn't have enough room to breathe. Number 4, declutter all beliefs that keep you stuck in your current environment mentally. And number 5, actually change your environment, go to new classes, start a new job, move. Do something which will help your intuition to apply itself to a brand new canvas. If you want to have some extra support in this area, remember you can work with me privately or check out the Epic Life Masterclass. Both links are in the description. And if you want to watch a video now that'll go into this even more, check out my video on how to trust your gut instinct. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.